Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Joshua Siliruka here, your host of the Impact Podcast Show. I'd like to take this time to say thank you all for tuning into the Impact Podcast Show. For all those that are listening through Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you for listening. But I also want to take the time out to say thank you to all those out there on YouTube watching this video. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. And if you guys are on YouTube, consider subscribing. So guys, before I do, introduce our next special guest on the Impact Podcast Show, I'd like to state our mission, and our mission is simple. Our goal is to impact the one, and we're always wanting to focus on impacting one person. So guys, we just want to establish that before we start in. But yeah, guys, with that being said, I'd like to introduce to you all our next special guest. He's all the way in New Zealand. It's currently 10 a.m. over there, and it's 8 o'clock here, like in Sydney. Guys, I can't wait for you guys to hear this man's story. Long story short, I only met this guy probably a couple weeks ago. I started following him, and I love what he's sharing. I love what he's doing over in New Zealand, but I also love his heart. I love what he's doing with his I would say his organization, or just like, his vision. He runs this thing called Digital Discipline, and I've been looking on his Instagram, and it's been beast. I love what he's doing, because people don't realize what this, I'm going to show you guys, this phone, right? With the phone, man, there's a lot of things that we can do positively, but there's also a lot of things that can come negatively in terms of your phone. And I believe this guy's going to share more on that. But I also believe that he has a mad story, because I always feel like there's a why. There's always a reason why people start, things like this. So guys, I want to introduce to you all Tony Laulu.
Thanks for having me also on the podcast, man. It's truly a massive blessing to share the space with you, man, and just impart, the little bits of nuggets that I might have for yourself and people that are watching, man. So appreciate it. Thanks for the time, man.
Nah, all good, man. I feel like I'm going to get inspired. That's the thing I love about doing this, is that people don't realize, man. People don't realize that I get inspired. When I'm just having chats with, like every special guest, I get inspired. So, yeah, man, I'm pretty excited, bro. Pretty excited to get into the podcast show.
Cool.
Yeah, sweet. So, bro, there's probably, like, people here who do know you. But I feel like there are people that don't really know much about you, man. So could you kind of share to the people listening on who you are?
Yeah, man. I don't come with too many accolades, but my name's Tony Laulu, born in beautiful country of Samoa. Similar stories, my parents migrated here when I was young. Grew up in a suburb called Onehunga, and I had just been there a lot of my childhood, teenage years, and parts of my early 20s. So that's where I grew up. Went to school in Mount Albert Grammar, or MAGS, as it's known of. Had been studied for a bit, and just been around different industries of work. And I feel like at this point in my life, I think I've found my little calling or my purpose in this season of my life. I'm not sure how long it will last for, but digital discipline is where it's at the moment. Yeah, man.
Come on.
Yeah,
man. I love what you're doing, bro. And I did mention this to you beforehand, before we started. I feel like this digital discipline that you've started, man. Like I was watching it. I was looking at what you're doing on your Instagram, and a lot of people don't realize how destructive the digital world can be. We're living in a world where people are on their phone 24/7, and if the internet cuts off, then they become real stressed out. Or if their phone cracks, it's like kind of more to them a prize, as opposed to their own life. So yeah, man, I'm pretty keen to explore into that, man. But yeah, I thank you so much for sharing on a bit about who you are.
Cool. Yeah, man. I guess I'll share a little bit how digital discipline was born.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, bro. Because like you said, where it's at the moment wasn't the goal right at the beginning. But
yep.
I got two sons, and their names are Sakalia and Lemalia. Sakalia is my oldest boy, and he just turned 9 last week.
Yep.
But this is where my story kind of begins. Is about 9 or so years ago, around the time he was born. Bro, back then I got myself my first my first smartphone. It was the Galaxy S3.
Yo.
So it was like the first kind of like
nice. Nice
Before
phone.
that, it was
phone.
like the Razor. I don't know. I forgot what they were called, but even before that, I just had button phones. So about 9 or so years ago, I got that phone, and I was just so fascinated by it, because now I had the smartphone where I could access Facebook, I could access my calendar, I could access my contacts, I could access the web, I could play games, I could watch YouTube, all within this little piece of technology, And so I was just like fascinated by it. Man, I can do all of these things. And so this was around the time my son was born. What I noticed though is the time that I was spending on this thing, and it just got increasingly bad because I didn't know what the sort of right amount of time was, and so it got to the point where I think when he was around a toddler, I'd wake up and not even be fully awake, but I'd be reaching for my phone, I'd be checking messages, any basic daily tasks during the day. I had my phone within like a 1 meter radius of me, so I'd take it to the bathroom. I'd be reading stuff on the way to work. During work, I'd be on your laptop right in front of you, just like between breaks, going home, supposed to be spending time with, my family, my son, and I just always had my phone on me. And so this went on for years, and I think somewhere in the back of my head, I knew that that I was probably spending too much time, but there was no one to tell me that I got a problem. There was no issue about it. I just thought, this is the way the world is moving. So I guess this is our new normal, that we're just on our phones or being connected.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until he was almost 5, and God bless my son, because he was the one that sort of helped me be aware of my tendencies with my phone. And so I think he was almost 5, but he had said something like, what am I looking at on my phone? And he was like, why are you looking at your phone? And I was like, he had said things similar over the last year or two, because he could articulate put some sentences together. But it was that time when I was like, over the next couple of weeks and months, that little question started to pop in my head. What are you actually looking at? Or what am I focused on my phone? So, like, that's when my consciousness started to be awake, because as soon as that question started to hit, and I'd be looking at my phone, honestly, 95% of the time, no exaggeration, there was nothing of value that I was looking at. I was looking at, I don't know, Tuilangi Brother highlights or something. I was being the biggest nosy dude on Facebook, bro. Sometimes you go down that rabbit hole, you click on people's profiles that you haven't seen in a while, you go through their photos.
Oh, bro.
Then you see someone else. It's like, then all of a sudden you're finding out that people got married, people have died, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Just spent the last half an hour snooping through everybody's lives. I was like, bro, so more and more I started to be aware, like, bro, you got some problems, because you cannot put this thing down. You, at every chance, at family functions, weddings, sort of funerals, I have this thing out, I'm like, you got some issues, bro. You you cannot put this thing down like on command. You can't just leave it for half a day. And so that was the awakening for me, bro. And so it got to a point where I was like, bro, I need to seek for some help, because I can't separate myself from this. It's distracting. Like hours on end on a day. And so, bro, like you do when you have issues, Google's usually your best friend, and I went on Google.
100%, man.
And I typed in something like social media addiction or technology addiction. There was nothing. Like your traditional addictions, like let's say if I had issues with gambling or drugs or alcohol or smoking, bro, there's the whole lot. They got communities, they got help centers, they have helplines, they got flyers, they got all sorts of stuff for them. But for someone that was addicted to social media or technology, only 2 websites popped up that were New Zealand based. but ironically, the help that they gave was all online.
Oh,
So,
ironic, right? Ironic, eh?
I want to leave this place. You're telling me I need to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. And so it was at that point, because I was already feeling so bad about how much it's affected my life and my relationships and just how I'm seeing the world.
Yeah.
I had to fix it myself, bro. So I was that determined. Even though there was some websites out there, the only phone line you could call was to report online bullying.
Yeah,
anything outside of that, like I need help to try and wean my addiction or my time off social media. There was nothing, bro. So I went for another year and a bit researching, reading the little bits of literature there were around it, the different studies. Most of them were based in the UK and in the States. There was nothing really in Australasia that I could relate to. There was nothing. And so I tried different solutions for myself. I know the main solution they have out there is like a social media fast or a social media detox. You'll probably come across those. And I think those are great. But for me and for some people that I've talked to, it only puts your addiction on pause for a month or a week.
100%. It's so like a diet, bro. It's like a diet, eh? It's the same thing as a diet. Like you're only putting it in a pause, and then when you finish it, then you go back to the old ways.
100%, bro. Yeah, and it's like what you're saying. I know so many people that have done a 6-week challenge, fitness wise, and then 6 months later they look like worse before than they started the 6-week challenge.
100%, bro.
It's because it's not built into their lifestyle, and that's what I was getting at. Because I don't want a quick fix. This thing had built up over 6 years worth of addiction. There's no way that a 1 month off social media is going to fix anything. It might give me some insight into, is this what real life is? But it's never going to really undo everything psychologically, emotionally that was attached to social media. Because it wasn't just a simple addiction, bro, as I realized over the year and a half of studying myself, bro.
Yeah.
And so I guess one little realization that I'll share with you guys, and it's kind of deep, and it's something that I don't think too many people factor in regards to social media, but I was posting up a lot around me being a great dad. So, I'd almost, in the back of my mind, there's stuff that you don't want to reveal because you might look like a dick, but sometimes I'd go to like the park or Motat or these cool events and take my sons almost for the sole purpose of me documenting that I went there with my sons. I'm such a great dad, I went to the beach, and I'd wait for these comments like, oh, Tony, you're such an awesome guy, or you're such a, cool guy, and I fed off that. And it's such an addictive way of living because in real life, compliments you have to work for it. Yeah. You have to work for your accolades. You have to work for that body in real life. Online, you don't have to work for shit, man. You just put it up with a nice filter and a nice caption, and you can get 10 comments, 100 likes, and then all of a sudden you've got that hit of dopamine is what they call it. Yep. So you can get that stuff in an instant. And this, ironically, that's why it's called Instagram, because you get it straight away. And so I think, and I guess I'm tying this into something that's a little bit deep in there, and that's my childhood, bro.
Yo.
And bless my parents, I love them, and we have a good relationship at the moment. But they've gotten to that point over time. But during my childhood, I don't feel like I ever got the praise.
Yeah.
Or, son, you're doing great. I'm not sure too many islanders that, back in our day, that, they have supportive, loving, they showed their support and love in different ways. And that resonated to us as like, oh, so this is so strict, blah, blah, blah. So I always felt like it was never enough, like what I was doing at school or whether it's in church or sport. You can do 10 things right, but that one spoon you don't wash.
Yeah.
So So I felt like that throughout my childhood, not knowing, but once social media hit, this is the link, bro, is that
Opportunity, eh? It was
bro,
opportunity, yeah.
is all of the praise that I ever wanted in my life and always falling short. Bro, social media was the place where I could get that gratification and that praise straight away, bro. So once I got a little sniff of it, bro, I started chucking more stuff up because I know the last post that got 60 likes and 10 comments made me feel good, bro. And so why wouldn't I want more of that? Because I hardly got any of that from 0 to 18. And so, bro, that was the link. That was the link as to, no wonder why I'm so attached to it, because now I'm looking for validation, and now I'm looking at other people for validation, which in turn, what I sort of understood about it all, I just wasn't secure. I was insecure.
Yeah,
I didn't feel comfortable with me being me in the childhood that I grew up in. I didn't accept a lot of the things that happened. And I wasn't secure with myself. That's why I'm on social media, plastering all of these cool stuff. When actually a lot of my life was actually going shit. But doesn't matter. Smile. Bro. So I know I've been rambling on, bro. But
all good, man.
Yeah,
all
bro.
good, man. I love it.
That's kind of the realizations I've had before I sort of go into how digital discipline was born, bro. But yeah, man.
Yeah, see, guys, that's the reason why I wanted him on, because everyone has a story, eh? And like that's something I've been real passionate on, is like having opportunities for people to share their story. And it's crazy. I'm not getting like the flashiest of people. Like I'm just getting people who I know will have a really good story, because for me, running a podcast show, people don't realize it's not as easy as you think it is. You have to get special guests on. If you're focusing on your special guests, you have to create content. You gotta post things up. And so I wanted to jump. I wanted to get you on, bro, because I knew straight away that you had a real touchy story. Because for me personally, I've learned that. In order for something to become real big, or like whatever you wanted to do, run a business, start a podcast show, start a YouTube channel, whatever you want to do, you always have to have a big why. Like you always have to, you always have to have a massive purpose as to why you're doing what you're doing. And so, from what I'm hearing, I'm guessing it was your son. It was your son that kind of triggered you. Your son kind of triggered you at 5 years of age, where he was asking you like, why are you on your phone, certain things like that.
Yeah, bro. That was the seed, bro. And I guess from that realization, I went away for a year and a half and just try to document how I was feeling, my anxiety around not having my phone, and try different things that would work for me. And I guess after about a year and a half, I had comfortably said to myself that I've divorced this addiction, bro, because now I felt like I was in control. If I needed to leave it for a day, I didn't feel like, oh man, I wonder who's commenting on this, or who's posting up. Like I was at a point where I couldn't care less. Not that I didn't care about the people I was connected to, but my life was so consumed for years about worrying about what people thought of me and what I would think about other people. And that was distracting from whatever purpose I had in life. And I might have missed some opportunities because I had spent hours on a day just consuming pointless, stuff on social media. But after I figured out what my formula was, or my solution day by day, and how I should live my life coexisting with technology, because it's not like, I've gone and moved into the woods, it's like start hugging trees and that. But it was finding the right balance, eh? And that's the one piece that is not being taught to our kids or even adults, bro. Like how education around what it does to you, the effects, the impacts, but also like yourself, who's active on social media, the benefits, bro. Because
100%.
It's a massive double-edged sword, bro. Like it's really great, but then if used, if not checked, it can be at your detriment, bro. So I guess how digital discipline was born, bro, is I sat on these solutions. So I fixed myself, eh?
Had to, You have to.
Have to, bro.
You have to focus on yourself, guys.
Exactly, man. But then I sat on it for like a year, bro, because I knew somewhere in my head that I needed to share this message, bro, because I looked around at, my two young sisters and also a couple cousins that I knew were just on their phone all the time, bro. But I knew I had to share this message, but I sat on it for a year, and this is where the whole purpose thing came in. Whether it's people might think it's the universe, I believe it was God. But it was not last year, but the year before in November, bro. It was a Tuesday, and just a normal day, bro. And God had put on my heart, you need to do something about that solution that you're fixed for yourself. Because if you don't do something today about it, I'll give it to someone else who's been going through the same thing. Surely, I was like, bro, it's like those dads that they kind of nag at you, but then it's not until they raise their voice you're like, oh shit.
I see. I have to. You go from here to yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, bro. And so it was from that day I just had to step out. It was more around confidence, bro. It was more around this. I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't want to do it because not in a bad way that I don't want to, but I just didn't have I didn't feel like I had much to say or had much to offer, bro. And that's my own self-limiting stuff, but I guess God knew better, bro.
Yeah.
So I guess I set up a Facebook page, ironically, but that's the only place that people would be able to receive my message.
Yep.
And so I put out content, added added my siblings and a few cousins, and I just said, look, this is what I'm doing, man, and whatever resonates with you, great. I didn't check it, I didn't manage, I didn't have any strategy, but I guess people were starting to share some of the stuff I was saying, and then but around this time last year, man, around April, May, I guess a couple youth groups got a hold of my stuff or stuff I was saying around the issues around youth and social media, and they just messaged me and said, look, man, I've read your stuff or looked at your last video, and my whole youth group's struggling. They're struggling with gossip because gossips come from social media. Do you run any workshops, or can you come talk to our kids around the effects of social media? And another group was like, 2 of our kids are getting into fights at school because so-and-so said something on social media, and it's stemmed from social media.
Yeah.
I went and done one workshop. It was just a talk. It was simple, but then I found myself doing a workshop almost every week, bro. And so I had to almost refine these workshops. So I had to do a PowerPoint, and then I think I got better at delivering the message, bro. So yeah, man. So I was just put in a place where I was able to share that message. And then I think where it really took another level is one of the schools that wanted me to come do a workshop series. They said, would love to have you, but we don't let people do stuff for free. You need if you're not a business or a trust, sorry, man, we don't do stuff for free. And I was like, bro, so sweet. So I guess, and I felt weird because I had done dozens for free. And I thought that was my purpose, bro. And this was the next sort of readjustment I had to do in my mind, because I think a lot of islanders, we just got a service heart. Hey, we just want to do it for free, but there needs to be a marriage of our service heart and then the Palangi world of monetizing something. And that was a hurdle for me, bro, because I was like, I don't really want money. Like, I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart. 100%, man. But as soon as I did that, bro, like the gigs came like every fortnight, bro. And I was like, and I had some good people around me that said, bro, don't feel bad about it, bro. People need your message. If they want to pay for it, then they need to pay for it, bro. Like, and so, yeah, bro. So that's where I've been, bro. So that's what I've been up to since about that time, September, October, man. So yeah, bro. It's been exciting.
Bro. I love it, man. I love how you mentioned too, like, but there's heaps that we can explore in this, man. But I just wanted to touch briefly, bro, about the fact that you're doing it for free, and then up came an opportunity for you to actually get paid for it. And you know what, bro? I feel like when you're so good, or when you have a vision behind something, because obviously you had a vision, right? You had a vision that you wanted people to not go through the same thing that you went through, and you know, for you to kind of step out and say, hey guys, I'll do it for free. And like, yeah, me too, bro. I'm the same with you, bro, when it comes to God, right? Like, I'm all about, you know, God, and like, you know, usually everything happens and like he kind of tells you that, you know, you gotta, like, if he tells you to go left, guys. And so, yeah, man, I'm fully on the same page with you. And, you know, there has been a lot of things that God's done in my life where I had to kind of shift and be like, oh, I thought I was going this way. And he said, no, you're going left now. I was like, oh, so sweet, okay, I'll go left then. But there is power in that, man. And I love that you shared that, you know, someone actually came up to you and said, oh, sorry, we don't do things for free. Like, to me, that's pretty ironic, because everyone wants things for free. You know, they'll want to get a free gig, so then they don't have to pay for it. But yeah, man, like, what was your actual thoughts on that? Like, how did you actually go with, you know, saying, okay, I'm actually going to get paid on it? Or like, yeah, what was your thoughts going through that time?
Bro, pretty mixed. It was like two sides of the fence, bro. I had accepted that this probably was my calling, and out of the goodness of my heart, I was prepared to just spread that message of education and awareness. And then at the very epitome of what I do is solutions, bro, practical solutions.
Yeah.
And so I've thought that I was just sharing this message without any thought of pay. But when that popped up, I know that traditionally, like even when I was younger, I did feel like I had an entrepreneur mindset, and I was always loving to dabble in like content around that and how people were successful. I think I just had, in all honesty, I had given up on thinking that I would ever be successful, because I had tried one or two gigs in the past and didn't really. So I just thought, why don't you just do stuff for free out of the goodness of, instead of trying to turn your things into a business. But when that came up, again, bro, I felt like this was sent from God, man. Like it was like this message that you have is that valuable that in certain spaces people need that value, and that value should be compensated in the form of monetary sort of agreements, bro. And so when that came up, it was a bit of a surprise, and I had like asked a few of the other consultant islanders that were around at the time that I knew about, and they said the same thing, that they had gone through their similar story of a lack of leadership or lack of cultural competency in their workplace, and then flipped the script, did it for free, and then now are running cultural competency workshops around the place and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And they just said, bro, it's just a mindset. It's not 100%. That you have to throw away your Islander or Samoan service heart, but it's just you need to marry the two of your serving heart, but also the system and the Palangi way of doing things of going pitching and getting work and so on. And that equation was, I had never thought about it that way. I thought because we just come from a community and people that we just give, even though we don't have anything to give. That I think that's the mentality we need to change, because that is at the detriment of our kids
100%.
And of our bank account.
100%.
And I know sometimes we talk about, money's the root of all evil. Don't get focused on the money, but even that, you need to challenge that, because now I want to be financially set. Because if I am, then I can help more. I can't help too 100%. Many people, but I'm always checking my Westpac balance account, And so, bro, I took it and ran with it and just trusted what they said, trusted that this was from God, bro. And then, bro, and as soon as I had enough confidence to charge, bro, it just went bang, bang, bang. Every other week, bro, there was something lined up, man. And so, bro.
I love it, man.
That's sort of how it panned out.
I love it, bro. I love it, man. I love these stories, bro. I love it, man. And so, bro, I want to just touch briefly. I've been listening to what you're saying. One thing that's coming through my mind at the moment is this thing called self-awareness. I feel that for you there was a moment in your life where you started to become more self-aware. When it comes to self-awareness, like, how important is it for you? First, how important is it for you to be self-aware?
Bro, I love that word. You
So
know
do
why?
I, man.
Because I've challenged it, because it's there's a few words out there that sort of get thrown around, and we kind of just like accept the motive behind those words or the meanings of those words, and self-awareness is one of them. And I'll give you an example, and this, because it's a recent example, it'll highlight what what I mean about self-awareness. Like, let's say I recently done a post around the 25 push-up thing,
Oh,
where
oh, I do too.
um, a lot of people have done the 25 push-ups for awareness. I think awareness or self-awareness is at the very beginning of change. Awareness doesn't really change habits or change anything besides bringing to your attention something. It doesn't mean that your mentality's changed or your actions have changed. It's just FYI, you know. It's self-awareness, bro. And so, like I said, I was aware about it when my son had said it. But awareness is no good if you're not going to do practical stuff to action, what you were aware about. So we're aware about obesity. We're aware about how takeaways isn't good for us. We're aware of how gambling isn't good for us. That's great. Awareness is awesome. But what are you going to do with that information? What are you going to do with that momentary awakening that you had? Oh, shit, maybe I should change that about myself. Those things don't last, bro. It's the sitting down and actually working through, bro, what do I need to change in my relationship? I need to put my phone down. I need to actually have my eyes up on this woman or my eyes up on this man. I need to stop living for the gram, Like, why am I acting all happy family when I'm arguing with the dude that I told him to smile on my photos because I'm more concerned about the 2,000 people that are following me, not worried about the 3 people in my house,
Yeah, wow.
And so awareness, like I said, is the start, but it's what are you going to do with that information? And so because I was aware and because I was embarrassed about how bad my issues were with social media and my relationship with social media, that caused me to go for another 1.5 years of finding out what is it that I can change in my mind, in my emotions, in my heart, to have a sustainable solution to just be okay with coexisting with social media. Because I'm active on it, but I'm fully aware of how much time I'm on it, how much it affects me, just my perceptions of the world or people. I don't get swayed easily at all on anything that comes on social media. So yeah, that's my opinion on awareness, bro.
Yeah, man, I love that you shared that, bro, because the reason why I brought it up was like, just from listening to your story, you had a self-awareness in yourself that I shouldn't be on my phone. I shouldn't be on my phone as much because I'm losing sight of everything that's in front of me. And it's really heartbreaking, to see. And like, me personally, I've started to, I think it was probably last year, I started to take myself away from this a lot more. And then man, like as you were saying, it is a double-edged sword. Like it can be used for good and evil. Obviously, it just depends on how you use it. I'm in a season now where this is the reason why I love you so much, bro. And this is the reason why I love what you're doing, because you actually align to what I'm doing at the moment. I'm wanting to put content out there for people. I want to add value to them, and not really be so consumed to this, but see it as an opportunity to bless people and to see people come and be the best version of them. And for me, like, I'm getting to a season now where I'm wanting to create content purely for the purpose of helping other people, but at the same time being self-aware to realize that you're not going to be fully consumed by it yourself. Because people don't realize you can be like, this is the vision, this is the goal, not realizing that you've just gone back into the habit of jumping back on your phone. What are you doing on your phone? Oh, I'm just scrolling. Wait, why am I looking at my old mate in year 12? He's got married, and looking at their stories, things like that. So that's the reason why I fully believe in self-awareness, and I wanted to kind of get you to share upon that, because people don't realize that. People don't realize they're not even self-aware of themselves, of how killing it is, you know. But you can also see it as a blessing too.
Bro, 100%. And what I like about what you're doing and a few others is the two avenues for social media, in my opinion, is creation or consumption. And if you are more on creating, which is like yourself, creating meaningful content, inspirational content, and it's taking up 10 hours of your day, well, I've got no issues with that, because you're online doing something great. But if you're on 10 hours a day just consuming stuff, then that's when you have to reevaluate, what am I actually gaining from social media? Like, for example, yesterday, I could say that I was on social media for over an hour or close to 2. But here's the thing. One of them was a podcast for like over an hour. So I got over an hour's worth of value from social media. So it's not like I'm going to stick to half an hour a day. No, because I can't do that. But what I'm consuming is, you know, something that was created for value. And so I guess then what I have to challenge myself with, which I've done recently, is I don't want to watch podcast after podcast and do nothing that I learned from that podcast, because it's addictive to listen to inspirational stuff. But what is it that I'm going to do from that podcast? So the one that I listened to yesterday was the plant-based Māori. I don't know, I forgot what his first name is, but he done one with a guy named Bucks Hunt or something.
Just recently. Yeah, bro. He actually jumped on the podcast. So he ended up jumping on board.
Wow, blew my mind, bro. I was like, he's articulating everything that I ever had thought about. But I was like, so what are you going to do with that? So, bro, I wrote down some notes from it, bro, and I'm like, I need to learn how to meditate and try tap into my ancestors' energy that they're trying to knock on me. I need to look at breathing, because I don't feel like I'm breathing. So, bro, I can remember that stuff from yesterday.
Yeah.
As opposed to if I was just scrolling through social media yesterday, pointlessly, bro, I wouldn't be able to remember. I wouldn't be able to remember anything that I looked at. But I can remember most of that podcast, bro. So that's the difference of being intent on being on social media and just doing stuff just pointlessly, bro.
Yeah, 100%, man. And yeah, I guess people will come to the realization. Hopefully, they come to the realization, and that's why self-awareness is so important. Like if I had the opportunity to preach on something, bro, I'll be preaching on self-awareness. And the only reason why I would, though, was because I've actually been brought up my whole life not realizing who I was, not realizing to myself, oh, yeah, I do find it hard. Because, yeah, man, I was the same as you, bro. Like, I was on my phone 24/7. Like, my family will tell you. And they'll know straight away. Like, when I'll get home, you know, when I was in high school, I'm on my phone. Like, for me, I'm a tech guy. Like, I love my tech. I love my cameras. You know, I'll be getting more into that. I love my computers. I love all these things. But now it's changed now. Like, it's changed as to why I use what I use. I'm actually starting to utilize my phone for the benefits of impacting people and inspiring people. I use my laptop to create content. You know, I invest in all these things that I have on me because I know that it's going to add value to other people. And I'm not doing it so that I can get added value back, but it's just wanting to give it out to those people out there that are struggling. Because, yeah, people don't realize, like, you know, like a simple thing like jumping on their phones for like a whole day can actually make a big difference to their life. Yeah, man.
Hard out. Yeah, man. And that's the whole goal of digital discipline, bro. And it's first sharing my story of awareness, because there's going to be some part in that story that's going to resonate with someone. And the difficult thing with social media or technology addiction is the consequences of being addicted aren't as visible as being a druggie or as an alcoholic.
Yes.
Or because you can do this, you can go for years privately and just be a social media addict or addicted to porn or addicted to whatever. Like, you can do that.
And it's like hidden.
Right? Exactly, bro. And so self-awareness is way more needed within the technology and social media space, because it's something that nobody can know about, bro. Nobody has to know how many hours you're spending on. But in terms of education, bro, like that's my main motivator is bringing that awareness and bringing to the attention of people or organizations or families how awesome it is. But the hard thing is with social media is that is the same house. Social media is the same house that you can get awesome value from. It's the same house that you can waste your time, bro, like hours 100%. On end. So that's why it's called discipline, digital discipline, because that discipline, no one's going to keep you accountable besides yourself, unless I've set up a group or you set up an accountability group. No one's going to know if you're slacking off or you're spending too much time online. But it's down to just one person, and that person is just you. Like 100%. You need to be the one that takes leadership in how much time you're on it, because as the kids grow into technology and grow up in technology, that's my fear is who's educating, who's out there educating them around the balance. Are they pushing STEM, which is science, technology, like all? Bro, I'm all for that. But who's teaching them how to manage their time in front of technology? Like, as great as technology is, it doesn't come. Social media doesn't come with an instruction book or manual book. You get it for everything else in life, you know, a set standard of time and whatnot. But with social media, bro, when you sign up to Facebook or Instagram, it doesn't tell you, look, before you sign up, our recommended time usage is 45 minutes. They don't want that. Obviously, they got hundreds of people in, you know, Silicon Valley trying to figure out how to keep you addicted. But it's up to you as the person to have that self-discipline and awareness to feel like, oh man, these algorithms. I searched for Air Jordans on Google. Now they're sending Air Jordan ads on my feed. And why is that? It's to keep you on there, bro. It's to keep you in the cycle, man. And you need to have discipline to hop out and know, okay, I've been on here 10 minutes of nothing. Is there anything else productive that I can do with my life? Oh, my son's hungry, or maybe I should do that, you know? So, yeah, bro. Interesting, eh?
No, it is interesting, bro. It is interesting. I love how you're talking about, you know, Google and the Google ads and they're popping up randomly. Like, people aren't aware of this. You know, people aren't aware of, you know, when you're scrolling through Instagram and you might see a Hungry Jack's. You know, you might see a Hungry Jack's ad, and then you're driving past, and guess what? There's Hungry Jack's. You're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go eat. People don't realize that subconsciously you've already made that decision because you've just seen it randomly. When you just go through your phone, you're like, oh yeah, it's Hungry Jack's, but you don't realize it's gone into your head, like it's gone through the back of your mind. All you need is like a few other moments of exposure. You know, you might see it. Yeah, you might see an exposure when you're driving. I don't know, driving past and someone's eating Hungry Jack's. You know?
Bro, this is how mental it gets, eh? Like
100%, bro. Talk to us.
Sorry, like, bro, it's deeper than what we think. Like in terms of, because it is all marketing, it's all ads, it's to put stuff in front of you. But I don't know if it's coincidence. I highly doubt it. But I went into no leaming. You guys have no leaming there in Australia. It's kind of like a all-purpose shop. Like it's mostly around technology. They sell TVs and laptops and all that. Bro, no lie, like the first ad I saw on Facebook after I'd left no leaming was about no leaming. I'm like, this is no coincidence, bro, because even though our GPS might be off, it's actually not off. They know where you go, bro. They know your movements, and it's even funnier that they're more sort of not deliberate, but I know in Australia they're doing it here where you have to download the COVID-19 app tracking you. I'm like, this is not the only purpose for this app. They want to track you so they know when you go to Burger Fuel or you go to Hungry Jack's or McDonald's, they know which ads to chuck in front of you. Or if you're heading towards a shopping center and you're scrolling on your phone on the bus, they're going to chuck a Hungry Jack's thing in front of you. Oh, shit. I'm hungry. I need to go hungry. Bro, it's that well thought out and well planned that they got tech dudes, you know, in California or wherever Google is, to really put their marketing on another level, so that for us, we're just oblivious. We're just like, oh, what a coincidence, you know. I was telling you, it's not like you look
Everything's
at
all done on purpose.
hard out, bro.
Yeah.
And whether it's good or bad, that's up to you because you get to decide whether you submit to going Hungry Jacks or not. Like, but bro, we're being handheld, bro, through a lot of our decisions and the psyche behind marketing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I don't have a strong opinion whether it's good or bad in terms of ethics. But I feel like as humans, we got stuff that technology doesn't have. That's intuition, that's decision making, and that's stuff that we are almost forfeiting sometimes when we have a total reliance on technology. And so those are the sorts of skills that I try and help people work through, because as I think more and more technology is making decisions for us. We're not using our logic. We're not using empathy. We're not using love. Technology can't love.
Yeah.
But yet, if I think about 5 or so years ago, I had a massive perception on, I'll say it, on Muslims, because I didn't know many growing up. But because of what social media was feeding me, I had a perception like that they're terrorists, that they're dangerous. But after I met some in person and then kind of understood what Islam is about, and those terrorists are like a little percentage, bro. A lot of them are just straight good people, like. But because I was so consumed and trusted social media, I was like, nah, bro, better be careful, like. And so that's one example of so many things I had to undo over that year and a half, bro, because I was like, bro, if you're looking at the world through the eyes of social media, it's gonna take you down some roads that are gonna be destructive to yourself and relationships with people, bro. Like, gotta use your own logic and your own initiative, man, because you don't want technology to corner you and make you feel like this is how you should think, this is what you should say, this is how you should govern your life, bro. Yeah, man.
Yeah, 100%, man. I love it. I love that you talk about the COVID app, the COVID-19 app thing. Because for me, like, I'm real skeptical on a lot of things. Like, I'm not too skeptical where, I become too, how I'd say it, like, like demanding people saying, stop doing this, stop doing that, like, micromanaging things like that. But, being skeptical is helpful. People don't realize that, you actually being skeptical, asking good quality questions like, is this, me downloading an app, is this going to help me out? For me personally, I'm okay. I'm not kind of denying myself and saying, stuff this COVID stuff, like, I'm all good. It's more so like I am aware that this COVID-19 is an issue. I am already putting myself into a place of safety, being at home, isolating myself, obviously allowing wisdoms to speak to me. But people probably need to understand, and some people just don't know. That's the hard thing about it, right? It's just that, some people don't know, which makes it a lot more difficult. But it's cool to have someone like you, man, doing, digital discipline, like allowing to share. Like, bro, I was impacted when you spoke about the Facebook. Like you mentioned about Facebook and how you're talking about the privacy. But do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, bro. Like, they introduced they've done a few of their, their initiatives to try and help be more transparent around what data they collect. And so they introduced this thing earlier this year, probably February or March, where they kind of admitted that they do collect data when you're not on Facebook, because I think for the most part people thought that you can see what I'm watching and blah, blah, blah on the app, but nobody really knew it continues to collect GPS data, information that you're logging on to different stuff. So they introduced it, but didn't tell anybody about it. It's just, they just chuck it in the terms and conditions. The funny thing about it, though, is it's already put on default. So it's already on. You need to actively go in and click it off. So it's not like an option where you go in and turn stuff on, like, oh, yes, I do want Facebook to collect data on, on when I'm not active on, on Facebook per se, but you need to go in, right? And as you can see on that video that I loaded, it's a fucking maze, eh? Yeah. Click on this thing. It's like 5 steps to get to to the place where you're supposed to turn those click that thing off. And so, yeah, bro, that's all it was just helping people be aware, or just giving people the option. Nobody has to turn it off. But if you are conscious around what data you want Facebook or social media to know, then I guess that's what it was more for. Just the FYI, Facebook collects data from multiple apps. I don't even know if it collects data from your Westpac app. It might, I don't know. But at least you have the option to go and click it off so it doesn't communicate with the other apps, you know?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of those things that we are unaware of, because the reason why I raised it is it was collecting data in America, and someone had written about it that they didn't know that their data was being shared, you know, to Facebook when they were using these other apps. And so it's just awareness, bro. It's not like massively evil, but it's so that you can protect yourself. The more information that you have, the more informative decisions you can make around security, around you know, making good decisions within this world, because social media it's not going anywhere, bro. So if it's not going anywhere, we need to be aware of the lives that we're living on social media and then in real life, and the impacts that it has on both. So yeah, bro. Yeah, that's what it was about, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I loved it, man. I was thankful that you shared that, because like I was like inspired. I was like, oh snap, yeah, true. I probably do need to check that out, because I was actually training. I was training at the time, and I was watching it. I was watching it as I was going through, and I'm like, oh, true. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. And like, it was good for me because I did do that. You know, I went onto Facebook and, you know, went to privacy. But yeah, it does take a long route.
Yeah, bro.
It's a long route inside, man. But you know, at the end of the day, this is like all part of the process in terms of being self-aware. I guess the more that you're self-aware, the more you start. I think, yeah, as you mentioned, making informative, like you start making informative decisions, because obviously the more information you have and the more information that you're allowing to stay within you, you're allowing yourself to protect yourself. You know, protect yourself, because you never know, like you never know people's intentions. And if you're not self-aware, and this can be for anything though, it can be for your phone, it can be with, you know, you spending time with other people. I think for me, I'm coming to the realization, and I'm reading a book called Max Out by Ed Milet, and yeah, I love the guy, bro. He's such a beast. And yeah, he was just sharing on you know, the power of association, you know, the people that you surround yourself with. And people don't realize, right, that, you know, whatever people say, it will, like, either subconsciously or you consciously will allow it to come through, 100%. Whether you like it or not. 100%. So whatever you're listening to, whether, like, and that's, bro, that's the reason why when I wake up in the morning, I don't go on my social media, right? That's why I didn't message you, bro. You know, this morning I was like, no, take a step back, because I realized that what I'll usually do is go on my phone, bro. If you look right there, right, that's my table, or like that's my shelf where I put my phone. And guess what? The first thing I used to do, I used to go on my phone, bang, swipe through, and like I'm starting to learn now, and this is all through discipline, through mindset, that I need to let go. I need to put that away. You know, I can last an hour without it. You know, I can last 2 hours with it, like without it. Like, let me just focus on me and building myself up. And yeah, man, it's crazy to see what self-awareness does for you, and like it really helps you, you know, make informative decisions.
Yeah, bro, and like this is where a lot of our younger kids, no, I wouldn't say kids, but our younger people are getting in trouble, bro, because they're not aware. You can count probably on one hand in the last year about how many NRL stars they get in trouble because they're not aware around what happens on social media and what gets captured on social media. Yeah. And then, you know, they're out in the public eye and whatnot, but that's at an athlete high profile level. But even I've heard some horror stories about kids who didn't have the right privacy settings on, and someone's created a catfish account, or they've been sending, bro, like unfiltered, bro, like sending either inappropriate pictures, and then, you know, it gets sent to the wrong person and screenshot and all of that stuff, bro, because there wasn't anybody to educate them that, look, bro, make sure you think about what you're sending, because you might delete it, but it's never gonna be off social media, offline forever, bro. You think you're gonna delete it and it's gonna disappear? No, it's not. So it's that awareness that I want to bring, so that they can act according to, you know, what they perceive as right or wrong on social media, bro. So a lot of kids have been traumatized because now their pictures are circulating at school. Mom doesn't know what to do. Can't send them to another school. And so those are all the things that I've heard, bro, where social media gone wrong. And it's like, well, who was there to coach these kids through? If you, like, not to be sad to parents, but if you allowed it, you're just letting these kids walk right into a wilderness with no education, no tools. And the other thing is around online bullying, bro. Nobody's taught them to have this thing which I teach is around online resilience. Is 80% of probably the more of the shit that you hear about yourself is just people projecting their insecurities, bro. It's almost like real life, but the bad things that people say online is just on drugs, bro, because they can say it in just an unfiltered way because they're just hiding behind a keyboard. And so those are the dangers, bro, is the misinformation and lack of awareness and lack of education because, bro, and so that's where some of our kids or some of our young people get in trouble because no one's there keeping them accountable. And that's what I love to do is I keep people accountable, bro. Just, for example, I'm working with 2 families that reached out that are struggling with devices in their homes, bro, because after lockdown, they thought that devices would disappear, but now, bro, they're struggling to get their kids off Fortnite. Not that it's a bad thing, but there needs to be some sort of balance, bro. So, yeah, man, it's just keeping these families accountable and working through some solutions and doing that sort of stuff is where it keeps me encouraged, bro. It keeps me inspired because it'll be a massive issue moving forward if people aren't aware of of what's going on social media, especially if social media is working 24/7 on how to keep you hooked. So a little bit of awareness might not work, bro. It needs to be a day by day, effort to be disciplined within yourself and more importantly your family.
Yeah, man. I love you said that, man. And bro, my question, I had a question in my mind about what you're doing, bro. What helped you? Like when you were going through, your social media addiction, growing up, like what actually helped you to actually say, you know what, it's time for me to stop, and what actually made you so empowered to start this? Because I like just by listening to what you're saying, you had your son kind of sow the seed on you and say, hey bro, or hey dad, what about me? And like it's for me, I'm not a father, but if I was in that position, I'll be probably heartbroken if my son said to me, hey dad, what about me? Like, you're always on your phone. I'm like, bro, it gives me the shivers right now. But bro, like these are the real things, eh?
That's exactly how I felt, bro. That's exactly, I was embarrassed, that at a young age, he had recognized already that I'd been on my phone too much.
Yeah.
And I think it was the fear of passing on an addiction. I think we've all heard about intergenerational issues, intergenerational problems. Here's one thing I've said before, bro, is like, if we don't check it, man, we are pioneering. We are the pioneers of social media and technology addiction. Like when alcohol landed in the islands, when drugs landed in South Auckland, people had to make decisions whether they consumed that or not. And because they've consumed it, subsequently their families are hooked on this or live this way. And I don't want to stereotype, but bro, because technology is such a new thing, especially with the access that you have to it. 20 years ago, it was dial-up, bro. So you needed to have a desktop and like you couldn't carry it around with you, bro. Now, kids as young as 12, 13 can carry everything, their whole world on their phone, bro. And so it was the fear that my son would be addicted to technology. And I babysat him with an iPad, bro, like growing up. He was almost as addicted as I was because I wanted to be on my phone. So I got an iPad for him. And so for him, being as young as 5, when I readjusted, had my realization and fixed myself, subsequently he or both my sons had to adjust to. So now these kids they don't budge over technology, bro. They don't ask for my phone. They don't care about like. Then when they say they're playing Fortnite, they're outside pretending to play Fortnite. But Fortnite's not a game they've ever played, bro. It's they just know it's a shooting game, eh? So, bro, like, I've got a Nintendo 64.
Yo. Oh, yes.
So we play GoldenEye and we play WCW versus NWO, but we play it once a week for an hour. But that discipline, when I say it's off, bro, they don't cry and scream over it. And I'm not saying that to brag, but when I, rewind 5 years and I'll try to take the iPad off and Tolu, I had to psych myself up for a fight, bro. Like,
yeah, 100.
But because I've readjusted my two boys now, then it's not they don't have any interest. It's because they know how to live a bit more. Not saying that they live more than other kids, but there's a tree outside and trampoline, bro. And they've been going hard for years, just fascinated and just playing with themselves, on the tramp outside or on the grass, bro. There's no reliance or dependence on technology to entertain them. The entertainment's outside, bro. And that's what we grew up on, bro.
Yo.
And technology will come. But I feel like the people skills, the risk management of jumping off a tree and all of that stuff, you can't learn that on Fortnite, bro.
100%, bro.
I learned that, bro.
I miss them, man. I miss those days.
And so,
oh man, wow.
as a father and just trying to do better for my kids, I'm trying to coach them on people skills and how to negotiate in real life, how to take cues, and not in a competitive way. But I feel like when they're older, it's the kids who had discipline during their childhood and weren't so consumed on Fortnite and whatnot are the kids that will. The more human you are, the more valuable you'll be in 20 years' time, because you'll have a whole generation that would have lived off YouTube, lived off Fortnite, that will have the tech-savvy skills, but people skills, I think they might lack. Yeah, bro. So I'm trying to make sure my boys are in an abundance of face-to-face and relationships, face-to-face. And then the tech stuff can always come, bro. You can learn that shit easy, bro. Like
100.
You can't learn people skills when you're 21, bro. It'll take heaps of time to do that. But tech stuff you can invest a year and learn, get it down pat, bro. So I don't know. That's just a weird way that I think, bro.
No, it's all good, bro.
I didn't, on your point, bro. I just didn't want to pass on an ugly addiction, bro, to them.
Yeah, I love it, man. So yeah, man. Sorry, I forgot to ask the question to you. So the question was, bro, like what helped you? So what was the actual thing that helped you to like stay disciplined and to let go of the social media addiction? Because I feel like people that are listening now, they're probably addicted to social media right now. They probably don't even realize, or they probably don't like know that they are. But yeah, like what actually made you stop, and what made you stop that and start digital discipline?
Yeah, well, what stopped it firstly was that awareness. And then secondly was the study around realizing how ingrained my life was, or how dependent I was on technology. I think the more information you gather, the more aware you become. The less study you do, even in an exam setting, bro, you can't perform, bro. You can't take those wins. You can't get any boxes ticked on those exams. So this exam of life, bro, you need to do your study and you need to realize. But then also the practical side is the thing that I needed to play out, bro, because I had done my study. I had realized what I was attached to, like my story about my childhood. Now it was the part in that journey where I had to, what is it that I'm going to do day by day to really live a life not attached to social media, because everything, my emotions, my mentality was attached to social media and what people thought of me, what I thought about other people. And so what made me stop was that, bro, was the realization, was the study. And then moving on from there, like we had talked about before, about actioning awareness, is I put stuff in place. So I'll, like, for example, maybe one or two things that I did was I done a spring clean of my social media, of Facebook. I only got Instagram last year, bro, and it was to reach a bit more people about my message. So spring cleaning is one of the solutions that I have, and that's you just go through, click on your friends, You just get rid of people, bro. People that you know don't add value to you. People that you know you're not your friends. You kind of know them, but you know there's no real connection, bro. I like, in all honesty, forgive me, my uncles and aunties, if you're listening to this, but some of them I had to unfriend some of them.
You have to, bro.
Honestly, I love them.
You have to.
But I don't want to know your issues with this person, and I don't want to see every morning that you're drinking the same smoothie, you know, or going for your walk. I love that, but it clogs up your newsfeed, bro. And I wanted a newsfeed where it's only positive, only value, and stuff that wouldn't distract me with the whole, you know, negative vibrations and negative vibes, bro, because people don't understand, you know. And this is the thing with cleaning stuff out, is sometimes you might come across a piece of good content and you just like it, but those likes subsequently over time, now for example, now I've liked 25 rugby pages, you know, or now I've liked 30 fitness gurus. I don't think you need to have 30 fitness gurus clogging up your newsfeed. Maybe 2, maybe 3. They all do stuff similar, but pick the ones that resonate with you, and then the rest, because it just adds to that, just the amount of stuff that's coming in on your newsfeed. You have to think about our friendships before, bro. Like, when you grow up, you got a few good friends, and those are the opinions and voices that you hear growing up.
Oh, bro, 100%.
Bro, for me, I had 3 good friends from about 5 or 6. They're the same. It's the same clique, bro. Now, the temptation for young people growing up is the amount of voices they want to hear. They want to be connected with 2,000 people, 3,000 opinions, 4,000 voices. How the hell are you gonna? Where are you gonna start from? Like, you listen to one inspirational thing, then you move to the next one. You listen to one negative thing, you move to the next one, bro. Like, that thing, you need to cut it right down, bro. Like, one kid that reached out to me that was that was struggling, said that it was his last year of studying optometry, like study about eyes. He knew he was going to fail if he didn't check his social media usage, because it was so bad. I encouraged him. I looked at his social media. He was following like 1,600. We got to cut down to like 300 or 400 people, bro. So imagine that. We've cut over 1,200 voices and opinions from who he's following to just a couple hundred, bro. And that's what I'd encourage. Is, I'm not sure how you can follow 2,000 different opinions and voices. It might be nice because you might need a bit but come on, like, in reality.
Yeah,
really need 2,000, because that's the shit that's gonna clog up your newsfeed. And then the other addiction that I seen people had, and I needed to check myself when I jumped on Instagram, is the amount of stories that you watch, bro. So if you got 2,000 people, you're watching 2,000 stories.
2,000 stories, yes.
And I remember I was at a point when I first jumped on Instagram, so I was like, oh, what's the story thing? I remember I watched everybody's story, and I was like, wow, this is cool. Refreshed it, bro. You guarantee every time you refresh it, there'll always be another story, bro. And like, I was like, I can see how this can be addictive.
100%,
bro. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? For me, I watch maybe 2 or 3. But now I'm scrolling across, bro. I'll scroll across family and friends, bro, and I'll only pick out people that are gonna add value. If you're gonna show me your time at the party last night, or I'm like, the same old, bro. Like, so I only click on a few and watch, because I know I'm gonna get value. So 100%. I know a lot of people don't see me watching their stories, but I'm like, because I know if I start doing that, I'm gonna watch everybody's, bro. If that makes sense, bro. If that makes sense. No,
it makes sense, bro. And I love that you said that, because people don't realize that everything's created under a system. You look at Instagram. When it comes to, like, I'm starting to study now, because at the moment now, I'm going to get into a lot of content creating. Like, I want to make this as a full-time thing.
Nice.
Because I feel like this is going to be something that I can do to add value to people freely, right? Just like you, bro. So, like, on a similar page to you, man, wanting to do it freely. Like, for me, I'm just wanting to add value. And the only reason why I do is because I know how destructive it can be if I don't.
Right.
Like, many people are going to be living a life for they're going to be exchanging a truth for a lie. They're going to be living their whole life living a lie, thinking that this their phone, going on social media, doing lives and all that stuff is going to help their future out. When really it's like what you're doing is you're actually making it worse for you. You're actually creating a life full of destruction. You don't even realize that you taking a photo of yourself and putting on social media, even just the angles that you're doing, putting your body to the side, things like that. You don't even realize, right? You don't realize that you are actually causing some sort of a destructive side to yourself in the future, but they don't know because they're just doing it for now. Like, they're only doing it right now.
Just to add to that point, bro, because I think it's important what you raised about photos and stuff like that. I'm all for that, bro. Like, I think social media is a place where you can, within reason, show what people. I'm not telling people not to post anything up. But the biggest thing around awareness or the biggest thing around social media is the lack of awareness. So, like, for example, about what you're saying is, for me, I've noticed, because I was bad at it. It's a big, like, monkey see, monkey do sort of thing. Like,
yes.
For example, I'll give you an example. Like, there was a time, I don't know who created it, but bro, I'll take this for example. It's a water bottle. There was a time where someone thought about it and just would undo an alcohol bottle and just... And everybody's doing it without being aware, like, it's like a vortex challenge or whatever. But that's one example of things that people are doing now just by following someone else, bro. No one's like stopping and thinking, what is the purpose of this? Why am I following this? Why am I copying this? How will this help my image, or how will this help my life as soon as I stop recording? Am I just doing this because it's the fad, or I just want to be cool, or want to be accepted by my peers? It's that awareness where people need to stop and think, what I'm trying to portray online does this align with the actual person that's living in real life? If it doesn't, you need to start marrying those two people back up, because the person that's living online is almost a character that you're creating that's not your true self, and it's not the person that's actually struggling with their finances or struggling with an addiction or whatnot. These two people need to be the same, because I fear that people are just living two lives, one life online, and they're really struggling in real life, bro. Yeah.
100%, man. 100%. And like, I wanted to kind of just state that, like with about these systems, and people need to realize, right? Like everyone needs, like, to all the listeners that are listening, you need to realize that you are following some sort of a system right now. With Instagram, with the stories, they intentionally create the stories to, go one to the next. So, when you're clicking right, click right, swipe left, swipe left, guess what? You're going through the next story. You're going through the next story, and you just intentionally do it because of the way that it's been created. So by having self-awareness, you're able to realize, okay, I'm just going to be choosing people. Even the following too. People don't realize about following. People don't realize, the people that you follow. I think a lot of people just want to follow people so then they can follow them back. Not realizing that you don't even know that what they're sharing to you is actually resonating with you. And people don't realize that the whole purpose of creating Instagram stories was actually to tell people your story. That was the sole purpose. Whereas, other people kind of explain their stories differently. They put photos up, things like that. That's totally fine. But people need to realize what was the real purpose behind Instagram stories was to share your story. What was the main purpose of Snapchat being created was to actually document your journey. But obviously people use it in different ways.
It's the intent, bro. It's the intent of the tool, man. And it can be addictive to showcase a life, an ideal life that you aren't living now, or a life that you've just copied from somewhere else, bro. Because the real you, it's just so easy to live on social media, bro, and not deal with your issues, bro. And I've had people be in touch, bro, and they're struggling, and I look through theirs just so I can help them look through what they've been posting. Picture perfect, bro. People that look like they've just walked into, these rugby teams or just never had an issue in their life, but here they are messaging, that they're really struggling, bro. And that's the balance, bro. You need to decide or start bringing this social media character back and realign it with the real you, man. Like,
yeah.
And I know that people say, yeah, it's just you're just displaying your highlight reel, but I feel that a highlight reel doesn't always have to be positive. I think sometimes the massive learnings that people can take from people is the valleys, bro, is all the shit stuff they've been through. Being vulnerable enough to share that on a platform, you have no idea how much impact that makes more than something positive that you're always, you just got to find a way to sort of put that content out. Bro, but it's the horrible stories in the tough times, like any movie, for example, other movies that you remember because it's a story of triumph, it's a story of transition. Instead of just telling us how rosies and fairies and how great it is, you stop being inspired by that. And like your platform, bro. I'm able to share how shit my life had been for a season, but this is the small little triumph that I've had, that I've had able to not only help myself, but now I'm helping other people. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, I love that, bro. I love this podcast. I love doing podcasts like this because it allows me to open up my special guests to be like, bro, talk about whatever you want to talk about, because I'm going to be on the same boat as you. I'm the type of person where I'm like, you know what, like, whatever journey you're going on, like, let's jump on it. I reckon that's the best way for all those that are wanting to start a podcast show or to do in like an interview or anything. Just always make sure that you're focusing on your special guests, like asking good quality questions. That was just a tip for you guys. All right, you never know, you might become big just by doing that often. But guys, you know what I want to do is I want to talk briefly. Bro, I want to talk briefly about what's happening with digital discipline, and then we'll probably wrap up from there, bro. So, yeah, man, bro, I've been enjoying this talk, bro. I'm going to be listening to this after this, bro. That's how empowering it is. Bro, from now, man, like, you're currently, the leader of digital discipline, bro. Do you want to kind of share about, what is to come for your business?
Yeah, bro. COVID-19's been an amazing time for a lot of businesses, whether that's the struggle of how to pivot, or the corner that we've been like put into around how do I readjust my business strategy, or how do I put stuff online and stuff like that. So I guess it had been something that I had planned to do at the beginning of the year, but just like I said, bro, and like human nature, bro, we put stuff off until it's the very last minute, or you've been forced to do something. And so I'd always known that I needed to put some of my workshops online, and the hurdle that I needed to get over was a mental block, and just probably a bit of ego, because I wanted to keep true to adding value face to face. But there have been inquiries from Sydney where they said, "Oh, we can't fly you over, but do you have anything online or any modules that you would usually do?" And I'd kind of say no, because I wanted to
keep it authentic.
All I'm doing is not allowing people to have access to my story or access to the tools that I have and the workshops that I run. And so I think I needed to get over that. But at the moment, bro, it's just figuring out how to mess around with stuff like Kajabi and Teachable and Thinkific, and which platform's the right one to chuck my stuff up on. So moving online, I've had some cool conversations with different groups that want to do some work post sort of COVID-19. One of my big dreams is to almost do a sort of like a workshop tour of the NRL, bro. NRL and Super Rugby. NRL's always come under scrutiny with players getting into issues with social media, bro, and I think that should start from the junior grade. Been talking to, knock on wood, bro, just been talking to the Kiwis setup, and they want me to come do work with their young people around social media education and awareness. But I'd love to do that stuff, bro, and just move into the corporate world, and offer it as almost like a professional development piece, bro. And then I definitely need one or two more people to join me. I hope, in the next year or so that I can be in a few places at one time, and people can, one or two people can do the school stuff, which is still there. But then I can also stay in the creative space. Bro, the thing that I need probably help more is just the admin stuff, bro. Just trying to figure out tax and like answering emails and all of that shit that I'm not good at. We're always good at the delivery side, eh?
Yeah.
But it's the training systems and like all of that other. So I don't want that to be a mental block too, bro. So I'm just slowly chipping away on how to understand systems. The Palangi world, bro. It's not that it's a bad world, but I think once us islanders can understand that world, and then also how we deliver, how we serve, and our hands-on stuff, bro, we're just a force to be reckoned with, eh?
Yeah.
Because we serve well, but can't do admin and systems very well. The Palangi world, admin and systems is their bread and butter, bro. But delivery, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's the person who can conquer both or master both. That's when, bro. That's when you start to be someone that forced to be reckoned with, bro.
Yeah. No, I love it, bro. I love it, man. I love your vision, bro. Wanting to do a world tour, because, bro, this can be a thing. And I guess, bro, the last thing I want to kind of ask you before I get you to share on an encouragement, bro, what keeps you going, man? When you're going through the valley low seasons, and when you're going through a season where things aren't going well, when everything gets kind of stripped away. Like, if it does, I'm not saying that I don't want it to, but there is a time where you might lose everything, man. What will keep you going, bro? What will keep you sane, through this journey of you being the leader of digital discipline?
Bro, that's a good question, man. I know this isn't a Christian podcast.
It's all good, bro.
But I tell you, over the last year, bro, I've been a prodigal son, bro, and I've just recently I've found myself, knocking on that door, man, and trying to realign myself with some good Christian values, my relationship with God, bro. I dedicate my mornings to God, bro. Like,
come on,
I have a rule where, anytime before 10 or 11 in the morning, everything is gospel music, bro. Like,
come on, man.
I know before, bro, I could wake up and start playing Nipsey Hussle straight off the bat, bro. But now I want to dedicate my mornings to God, bro. And since I've found that, I haven't gained anything much in terms of financially, or a little bit. But what I've gained is more of a peace, bro. Peace of mind. So if everything does get taken away, bro, I've put my chips in and trusting God, bro, and that He's worked that out already for me in terms of this addiction, in terms of other things that have happened in my life, bro, that have gone to shit. And then it's only then when you have absolutely nothing, bro, that because I know He wants the honor, and you can't put it on anyone else besides God. And so I've seen that enough in my life where there was nothing or no one that's pulled me out of this besides me being dead set on the bottom, and God was the only one that was able to help me through, bro. So I've only realized that in the last year or two, bro, and so it's almost coincided with the development of digital discipline, but I guess it's a testament to how good God's been in my life recently, bro. It's been tough for a few seasons, bro. Like, I've had a few innings where it hasn't gone my way, bro, but lately it has, so always got to thank God for that, bro. And so that's what will keep me motivated. on top of that, it's just my boys, man. Love them to death, eh? So
Yeah.
those are the two main factors, bro. It's God first and then family second. So that's family's my two boys, man.
Come on. Bro, amazing, man. Amazing, bro. I love it, man. I love where your heart's at. I love what you're doing with digital discipline, and bro, I'm so inspired, bro. I'm inspired. As I said to you, as I said, man, like one thing I love doing on the Impact Podcast show is just having conversation. And for me, I always make sure that I get inspired first before kind of delivering to other people. Like, people don't realize what I do is, like, I actually listen to my own stuff. You know, I do listen to my own podcast show. You know, you think about it. If it's that good, you'll listen to it. Like, if you're wanting to be that good, right? Like, any product or any service that you wanted to provide, you want it to be that good enough that you want it yourself, or you want to listen to it yourself. So, for me, I'm that person. I don't want to kind of deliver to people like, you know, crappy podcasts, or even just me, like, not, you know, displaying well. So yeah, man, I appreciate you so much, bro. I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah.
But the last thing I want you to kind of do for us, if you don't mind, is kind of share to us, like, you know, one encouragement that you have on your heart right now that could possibly help, you know, like the people that are listening.
Yeah, bro. Like, in all humility, bro. Like, I know that the guests that you've had have had massive value to listeners, bro. And this is just coming from a place of honesty and just part of my journey, bro. But one little gold nugget that I could offer, not that I'm an expert or not that I've made it to the summit, but there's this one thing that I've been trying to work through lately, and I'm halfway up the mountain, bro. It's just letting stuff go.
Yeah,
letting stuff go, man. I've been, you know, I've struggled with letting things go. It's stuff that were out of my control. Childhood, not saying that it was traumatic or anything, but there's certain parts that that I couldn't let go of, and that was tough for me. And subsequently, with that is beating myself up about a lot of stuff. I'm still working through stuff that happened to me 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So yeah, man, that's the theme for to wrap it up. Is just let it go, leave it to God, man, and stop being too hard on ourselves, eh? Yeah, bro. So working through that, bro, and it's been a blessing. The little wins that I've had with exercising that and letting little things go and big things go, and just digging up my past and just accepting and realizing and making peace with it, and just it clogs up too much of my energy and my emotions, bro. So yeah, man, it's all my little inspiration for the end also. But,
no, it's all good.
Yeah.
Nah, sweet, bro. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you jumping on. But yeah, guys, that is all that we got. I want to say thank you, Tony, bro. Thank you for jumping on board, man. In terms of connecting with you, bro, what's the best platform, or what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, bro. People are always hitting me up and always happy to chat, video call or phone call, man, because I know what it's like to have an addiction and have nowhere to go to and no one to speak to. So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search Digital Discipline. My kind of handsome face might pop up, and then you'll know it's me. But hit me up, man. I know sometimes we contemplate, do I need help doing it? Just reach out, man, and I'm happy to walk through your journey through being a bit more disciplined with social media and technology. But that's where you can find me.
Yeah, sweet. So guys, for all those that are listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, just shoot over to our Instagram page. Make sure you guys follow us too, and yeah, we'll just have we'll have his information there. But if you are watching this on YouTube, it will just be down in the links down below. So that would be cool. So guys, that is pretty much all we got. Brother, thank you so much for jumping on board. Thank you for adding the value, and thank you for taking your time out too to come out. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much all we got. So thank you so much, bro. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one.